getting some breaking news as we track Hurricane Helene. The storm, growing in strength, just updated in strength and set to make landfall in Florida before jetting up through Georgia and the Carolinas.
They've been calling for rain. We had rain since about Tuesday. It's just going to be another tropical storm. Friday, I woke up and I looked outside and I said, this ain't good.
5 states are currently under emergency declarations: Florida, Georgia, North and South Carolina, and Virginia. According to one hurricane expert, Helene is forecast to grow into one of the largest storms in the Gulf of Mexico over the last century.
Prior to Helene hitting, we had quite a bit of rain in our area. Not unprecedented at all. It's typical for this area to get 10, 12, 14 inches of rain over a week, 2-week period. When we finally got that boost of a little bit of water and a whole lot of wind, that's kind of what tipped the bucket.
So it was a really unique event, right? We were looking back in time, and this really mirrored the 1916 flood, where you had 2 hurricanes come through back to back that created the devastating flooding back then. But here we had the predecessor rain event with the cold front that come into the mountains and stalled, and it rained for 2 and 3 days before Helene ever made landfall. So as Helene worked north, we knew that this was going to be a prolific flash flooding event.
Wednesday, we started having calls with the state, meetings with the state about flooding and damages and the upcoming storm and what it could possibly bring.
Yeah, an emergency declaration was signed the day before by our Board of Commission Chairman, Jeff Britton. That enabled us to do the voluntary evacuation orders for some of the more expected to be impacted areas up towards Linville and up towards the lake. That also gave us the ability to connect with state resources. We all understood that there was going to be a significant impact, and part of that preparation is getting that declaration of an emergency. Thank goodness that we did, because the next 11 months following that, where we were in this recovery mode, the resources that were required and the refunding through the public assistance process with FEMA is only connected to that emergency declaration. So it was really a critical component.
I had recently moved into my role as the Director of Emergency Services for the county, and we were trying to establish what assets we needed to put and where we actually needed to put them. So I spent the entire day working with our Special Operations Coordinator, John Hood, to get things put into place. And we had crews that were going to be staged in the east, we had crews that were going to be staged in the west, in strategic locations, not knowing exactly what that impact was going to be.
We started about 2 to 3 days ahead of time before the storm actually arrived at Burke County, prepping equipment, making sure we had all of our boats in place, motors checked, all of the equipment checked, had dry suits ready for our employees, started working on coverage for our Special Operations Division to be taken off shift, to man the rescue teams. We also had to start working on backfilling to ensure that we maintain coverage for our 911 ambulances as well.
So taking 911 calls on any given day, you're dealing with someone who's having their worst day. Taking 911 calls during Helene was a bad day on fire. You have people stuck on the road who can't. You have to tell them just stay in their car and stay put and call back if there's a medical emergency because you can't get to them. People trapped in their houses. No power, no communication. Then you have people calling, trying to find out if their loved ones are okay because they can't reach them. We had 11 telecommunicators on shift answering roughly 4,500 calls.
$73 rescues in 23 hours that we have names and information for. That's not including the other individuals that we stopped and helped, or the people we insured. That wasn't the well checks. That was actual rescues that were done by the team.
The water level was approximately about 30 feet over where we're standing right now. If you can see the bridge behind me, it was going over that bridge about 4 foot above the bridge level. The rescue we had that evening, a vehicle that got stranded right in the middle of the bridge. And whenever they became stranded, the water was less than a foot deep. By the time rescue crews arrived, they attempted to get her off the bridge, and the water level rose so quickly that it became impassable where they were not able to walk with the victim. So they had to get to the point where they were just holding on to the guardrail or the bridge pillars to stay where they were at and wait for other rescue teams to arrive to effectively rescue the rescuers.
Oh, no. That's not good. That's not good.
To drive across that bridge with the water still just below going over the bridge, and to think to yourself, I almost lost 6 people here. That impact will never leave me. You can drive down 18 towards Lenore and look on the left-hand side of the road before you get to the bridge, and there's a yellow rope that's hanging from the tree, and it's 30 feet in the tree. And that's where my crew had to tie off that day so they didn't die. And that rope is a reminder to me every single day when I drive home.
And there goes Carly fell. Oh my God.
I'm almost 30 years old, and I've seen this happen twice in my lifetime that I remember now. The anxiety and kind of reliving one of my earlier memories of the flood in 04 that took our cabin out here, and up until last September I'd kind of repressed, and a lot of stuff just kind of came rushing back. The water was above the gutters on this house and actively rising, and at that point I just kind of knew that was it. We're just gonna hope and pray and see if there's anything left.
Well, I was out of the country in Germany for a couple of days. I didn't know about it, which was probably good that I didn't know about it. And so they told me, and we started, we finished up where we were and came home. And it was just so rewarding to know that so many of my family and friends had already started the process before I got here.
And I got in the day after the water went down, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock. Well, I was driving back for 2 days thinking that I wasn't going to have a house. I came directly here to see what we had. And I stood in the yard, and I started laughing. I said, this is ridiculous, it's impossible. And I slept in my SUV that night. I didn't know if I would be sleeping in my SUV for a while. And I came back the next morning about daylight, and I started weeping. And I wept all day. I was in shock. And I've had a few friends who said, Jen, I've never seen you in that state before. Everything, ceilings and everything were on the floor. Everything was upside down. Mud was smeared on everything. And when I looked at the yard, we only had we had 5 houses to family cabin, but if you count all the outbuildings, I counted them, there were 19 buildings. And most of the 19 buildings were lined on that side of the property or against the creek. And I didn't say I could ever be removed.
Coming back to work, it was just confusion, chaos. You didn't really know where to start. Seeing a building that's ripped away from its, foundation and leaned up against a fence and a tree was like, what is this? It was chaos.
We lost all of our electric customers, over 10,000, in the city of Morganton. Our water and wastewater operations were both shut down, and within 24 hours we had no water and no sewer service, in addition to no electric service.
We had so much damage, it was just unreal. We just thought we had the trees and storm damage problems, but then we ended up having the flooding damage too as well.
Our electric department employees worked 16-hour days around the clock doing that, had help from 10 other communities in North Carolina that sent mutual aid with people, equipment, trucks to us to restore power, to give people back some sense of normalcy. Our water and sewer operators worked in the field to stop leaks, to try to restore power, to try to restore water service, and within 24 hours we were providing water. We had to boil it, but we were providing water to customers.
There was a lot of challenge too to know when we started up what would come into the pipe. We didn't know what was in the pipes at this point with all the trees down. So there was an unknown of what kind of trash are we going to have to deal with as well. But thankfully, after we started up, we had water coming through the plant and everything was normal. It was kind of a breath of fresh air that we didn't have the issues that we anticipated.
We were able to start supporting businesses that could reopen, that could serve our communities, with a group of city employees, other volunteers, community members, city elected officials serving 3 meals a day to our emergency workers, and in 8 days served over 4,000 meals to keep those people working and able to serve our community, to help us put those pieces back together.
I think one positive thing that I got out of it was just seeing like the communities come together, not just our department, but I think just that coming togetherness of everybody to really, we were pulling people left and right, hey, come help us with it. It didn't really matter, what you're working on or whatnot. Is like, let's go get this done, let's go get that done.
In those first couple of days, really in the first, I would say 10 days, basic commodities to folks. People needed food, they needed water. Some people had lost clothes, toiletries, just basic stuff. And I couldn't be more proud to serve in a community where the response was very, very much of promoting one's neighbor and trying to be supportive and folks that were in need. I think that they felt supported. I was incredibly proud to serve alongside our other county employees. Everyone just said, "Where do you need me?"
I started receiving texts and updates from the county manager and ended up in a text thread with commissioners from all over the state, helping each other coordinate materials, supplies. It was pretty intense receiving reports from all over western North Carolina through that text thread. I wanted so badly to jump in and do something. I called the county manager. I knew I needed to stay out of the way, but I could not resist the want to help.
There's always going to be something that happens that you do that's outside what your job is. So
it's really hard to explain. I can tell you this. What I watched was everyone out here dragging everything they own to the curb to throw it away because everything was completely flooded up to the ceilings in their home. We spent the days, weeks out here, me and other city staff, helping people get to the curb, get it separated so we could clean that up. Most of the owners, we all stopped out here and cried with them. Their life is right here at the curb. Their life.
I was just amazed at how well our county manager, all the support personnel under him, not just 911, but DSS, health department.
I think the teamwork and the fellowship, everyone had a genuine concern for everyone's needs, and it was a balance. You would almost expect bad things to follow something like that, but again, it was just a good collective positive atmosphere to work the problem afterwards.
It's just everything came together. It didn't matter what your normal job was. There were things that needed to be done, and we're done.
Friendships, those extended family, that caring, that was just so good. In all of the devastation, that was so heartwarming.
I could not be prouder of the group that I work with.
Community coming together, it gave you a new sense of humanity, I reckon.
I've been humbled twice. Once as a kid where I just started kind of understanding it, and now as an adult where I know what $1 in an hour means in my life, and to come out and just show up to somebody you don't really know and give as much as people have, it's it shows there's still good people out there.
My biggest hope, and I hope the biggest takeaway that our citizens get and future citizens get, is the importance of preparation, personal preparation. You go through the what ifs for yourself and your family.
There were lessons learned by everyone in this community. I mean, people thought it would never happen here, but we don't know what's going to happen. And being prepared, like this community came together to meet the needs of the people here and support the people. And we've all, I think, made new friends. We've all cherished where we live, and it's wonderful.